911, what is your emergency?
Hi, we're on Atlantic Ave, and the train just hit a fire truck.
The train hit the fire truck?
Yeah.
Be advised, we have an accident. It's going to be truck 111 was struck by the train on Southeast 1st Street.
3 firefighters injured, 2 of them critically injured, and 12 other people aboard the train had minor injuries. I've been watching this story unfold over the last 2 weeks, and for a number of reasons, it turned into an interesting case study. It was strange because early on, we really didn't know many details about this incident. Was it a structure fire with people trapped, or just a fire alarm? It shouldn't make a difference, but it really does. The way information has slowly leaked out and the lack of transparency was surprising. I'll come back to that. This video is sponsored by BlazeStack Fire Investigation Software. BlazeStack is a fully featured fire investigation case management platform that arson and fire investigators rely on to log, document, and report fire investigations. Get a free trial at blazestack.com and request a quote using the discount code STASHED. 13 days after the initial incident, the radio traffic and 911 calls were finally released. It starts to paint a picture of what happened that day. It still leaves many questions unanswered, but everything about this incident and the aftermath is a great opportunity to learn. While en route, units received an update.
Hi, 111 and all responding units. So we got this call originally from the alarm company for a general fire alarm. However, we did get a call from a resident. They said that there is smoke on the second floor. This is a 4-story building. Smoke on the second floor, possibly coming from apartment 204.
It's possible they go to this building for this reason fairly frequently. I think we all have buildings like this. However, you can't become complacent. And just because you might already be thinking, careless cook, you still need to treat it like an emergency and have a bit of urgency. I've had too many BS fire alarms turn into big incidents. While en route, multiple units announced on the radio that they were delayed due to the trains. But at this point, there were already fire crews on scene investigating. Now, listening to the radio traffic doesn't give a great sense of time. That's because often the files are edited to remove dead air time. With that said,
burnt food in apartment 204. There's a slight haze on the second floor. No hazards. We're just going to need to ventilate. I copy, no hazards. Dispatch command, all units, code 1. Correction. Let's hold the ladder 112, rescue 113, cancel balance.
This cancellation included the ladder truck that was struck by the train. Emergency response is the most dangerous thing we do in the fire service. In 2021, there were nearly 19,000 collisions involving fire department vehicles, according to the NFPA. These crashes come with serious risk. Between 2017 and 2021, 39 firefighters lost their lives in crashes, with 11 involving fire department apparatuses. Data shows 70% of these accidents happen during emergency responses. I absolutely believe there are times when seconds count, but like everything we do, it's a calculated risk based on the situation. When there's already fire crews on scene, taking a breath, slowing down is really the way to go. As I mentioned early on, there were a lot of details slowly released over the last 2 weeks. 3 days after the crash, 4 people were placed on administrative leave. Initially, it wasn't clear who was suspended or even if they were on the truck at the time of the crash. But later on, their names were released. And as you'd expect, the driver and the officer on that ladder truck were suspended. We don't know why the driver decided to go around the gates. It appears the ladder truck was initially waiting for a freight train and started to go around the gates after that train had cleared the intersection. As someone who has grown up in an area with heavy train traffic, you always have to watch for trains coming from a different direction, and especially when there's sets of multiple tracks. But as the driver of the apparatus, you are responsible for the safety of everyone on your apparatus, as well as the safety of the public. Chain of command at that point, it's irrelevant. And it's all about getting to that incident safely. The officer in the right-hand seat is the next level of safety. An extra set of eyes and that voice of reason. An assistant chief and a division chief were also suspended, which raises a lot of questions in my opinion. This hints at some larger issue within the department, or it could be tied back to some issues regarding the driver's license of the firefighter behind the wheel. Records show that his license was suspended way back in October of 2023. However, at the time of the incident, he did have a valid driver's license. It's also really important to be transparent and provide information to the public when disaster strikes. With the presence of both traditional media and social media, it's essential to stay ahead and communicate the message effectively. The worst thing you can do is remain silent. When mistakes are made, we need to own them. We need to use them as an opportunity to learn, not just internally, but the fire service as a whole can learn from an incident like this. When the incident occurred, a public information officer really should have promptly addressed it with a statement such as, "Crews were responding to a fire alarm at an apartment complex where smoke was reported on the second floor. It was determined that the smoke was caused by a careless cook. However, during the response, one of our ladder trucks was struck by a train. We do not yet know why that ladder truck was on the tracks or the timing of the crash in relationship to the cancellation of the units. An investigation will be opened to determine the events surrounding this incident." Fire trucks are really slow off the line. We really shouldn't be crossing train tracks with the gate down, even if we think that train has already passed. What's ironic, roughly a week after this incident, a car drove across those tracks under the gates and was struck by another Brightline train. Depending on the call, every second counts, but safety must always come first. As I say way too often, thankfully nobody was killed in this incident. And with an incident like this, a new policy is born.